Page 38, Minuet from Don Giovanni by Mozart. Don Giovanni is an opera, in case you're wondering, and this is a minuet. A minuet is like a hoity-toity, high-class, aristocratic waltz, is what it is. 3/4 time. Key of G major. Since it's Mozart, we want it to be clean. Mozart's music is played in a very clean style. Not too boisterous, not too wild here, just very clean and subdued. In the right hand, we're going to start out with 1 and 2. The reason is because we're in this position. We've got a G coming up. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. Second measure. The quarter note comes on beat 2. 1, 2, rest. So that 1 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. And then come down 1. Now 16th notes, 1 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. Last two measures of the first line then is 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 E. Now go on, watch the fingering. It's 1, 4 and then change to 3. And then thumb under. Yes, there's an F sharp in the key signature. 1 E and a 2. These are important on these rhythms, so get them. And crossover. There's a repeat sign, you'd repeat that, but for now let's go on. Bottom line on page 38. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 E and a 2. Watch the fingering. I like that fingering. You don't necessarily have to use third finger. It's just the idea of using 2 different fingers on repeated notes, when they're, especially when they're quick. You have a rest, so if you want to use second finger and during the rest you can bring your hand down again, that's fine. Etc. And you can get the rest of it. The rhythm is pretty much the same throughout. Then you get to the bottom of page 39. Last line, you're up here. And then in here. Now, watch the fingering. And then they say 1, 4. I prefer just bring the 4th finger down. And then a 1, 2. And then a 1, 3. It works fine. I don't have to do all this thumb to here. This is very awkward. I would not recommend that at all. I don't agree with that fingering. I don't even know why they would suggest it. No. We want to feel and protect the melody, is what I call protect the melody. You want to feel the melody. If we can play it legato, we will. And that's what it is. The other note is harmony. It's less important. It's the melody that, and by fingering it this way, we can finger it legato and we can feel it. You can feel that. Yeah, and that's what we're after. Left hand has the harmony stuff, the broken chord stuff at the beginning of page 38 there. 4th finger on the B. If I take the first 4 notes together, it is a G chord in extended position. Extended means I've got the octaves and I'm filling in with the others. That's the fingering for the chord, so that's how I'm going to finger it here. It's 4th finger, I like that. And then they're saying in the second measure for the 8th notes is a 2, 1. Just bring your hand up. That's fine. Last measure, you play in the first note with the second finger, and then for the 8th notes, it's 5. That's fine. We can do that. Treble clef in the second line, see that? They snuck that in there. Second measure. I like their fingering here. This is good. Except the last measure. It's a 3, 2. This is the last measure of the second line. It's 3, 2. And they're saying a 2, 5. It's okay, but you can also do a 1, 5 if you want. You got to move it down anyway. This bottom line, I want to talk about this, is very common in piano, and this is where people without a teacher don't understand what's going on. They just see these notes and go on. Oh yeah, I got that, no problem. There's more going on here than meets the eye. Look at that beginning there in the last line. The first measure, the D, there's two Ds next to each other. That's important. You don't play it twice. They're touching. When they touch like that, you play them one time. The point is the half note, the dotted half note D, the stem's going down, and the eighth note D, the stem's going up. This is an indication in music when they do this that there are two voices involved. So it's like if the instruments were playing them, one instrument would play the dotted half note and another instrument would play the eighth notes. Two instruments involved, two voices. So in piano, when we do this, we try and cover them in that manner. Forget the pedal. Don't care what the pedal's doing. Going to do it with the fingers. I'm going to hold that D down for the dotted half note for the whole measure. And I'm going to continue to play the eighth notes. Next measure, same thing. And then both voices come together here. Another term for this is called finger pedaling. It's where the fingers hold the notes down longer than normal to keep the sound going. It's what the pedal would do. We don't have to finger pedal it so much because there's a dotted half note there. But even without the dotted half note, we could finger pedal this by simply holding the first beat down and letting that note ring out because it helps with the harmony. You sort of bring it out a little bit. Now, it's not as important as the melody. The melody is still the most important thing, but after that would be this note on the bottom, and then all the fill stuff is least important. That's the softest. So keep that in mind. Now we get over to page 39 is similar to this. Well, let's just do the last line there on page 39. You're here. I recommend a 5 on here, not a 4, and then a 4-1 for the chord, and then you can do a 2 if you want. You don't have to, you could just use a 4 again and then come down. Their fingering is this way for the last two measures is here, 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 here. That's a lot of moving, but you're moving each time. Now the here to here and then here, I did all that in one hand position, and then I moved for the last measure. So then we put the hands together and we add the dynamics. So what do we got with dynamics? Well, you're starting out soft, and that's the melody, so everything else has to be softer than that. So at the beginning, now there's really kind of two voices going on here in the right hand. It's like a duet. So if you can play them both about the same. In the second measure, the right hand comes up on beat 4. So when you play the B in the left hand, the right hand comes up. So it's here. And going on. Again, the right hand has a quarter rest on the last note. So it comes up when the left hand plays that B, because that's beat 4. So it's here. Going on. Second line, look at this. Now the left hand gets treble clef up here. And again, the second measure of the second line, the right hand has an 8th rest. We need to hear when the left hand plays the F sharp, it's by itself. There's no other sound going. And going on, bottom line, you're here. We want to hear the right hand. Everything has to be under, but you can play the dotted half note out low. And again, the right hand gets a rest, so bring it up on beat 3. You notice the pattern in the left hand changed? The last two measures on page 38, it's here, and then up, then the middle note. But that last measure, the middle note comes first. That's to accommodate what's going on in the right hand. So it's going on to page 39. Again, we got an 8th rest in the right hand. Need to hear it. now the second line's like what we had over on page 38, and the last line is like so. Again. Dynamic wise, this never gets really loud. This is just a gentle piece. It's soft. Second measure on those eighth notes, bring out the B. You're getting louder and softer. Ba. Second line, you're going to get a little louder. Start in the first measure there. And that's really where you're headed. You're sort of a medium loud there in the last line. Now on the top of page 39, you're sort of medium loud and you're going to get loud, but I suggest you come down a little bit. Start at a medium soft so you got more room to get loud. Now, that's where you're headed, right there. Come back down, and then you get the rest. The dynamics they add a whole lot to it, so be sure and put those in. After you learn all the notes and the rhythms and the fingerings and all that wonderful stuff. Then after you have all of that down, add the pedal. Pedal comes in last, because if you start adding pedal too soon, it blurs up the notes. You can't really hear the notes. Am I holding this down too long, or this down not long enough, or whatever? You got to be able to hear all that clearly. So when the right hand plays a rest, or the left hand or whatever, you can hear the rest. You don't want the pedal covering it up. So after you have all that, now we add the pedal. At the beginning, I'm going to push the notes down and then the pedal. I'm going to lift the pedal after I play the notes in the second measure. I don't want the pedal down when I do this. No pedal on that, so it's here. Third measure, play the notes, then the pedal. Lift the pedal up as I play the notes in the next measure. Next line, same thing. Last measure of the second line, push the notes down first and then the pedal, and lift the hands and the pedal at the same time. It doesn't matter if you're repeating or not, you're going to do it the same way. Lift it up so we get a little silence before we go on, wherever we go. Right now, let's go on. Third line, go ahead and pedal it. Now, I prefer to hear the rests. They're covering them up. So I would prefer to lift the pedal, or I should say change the pedal on the third beat. So it's here on the second measure. I don't want to lose that blend of harmony going on. I just want to lose the note in the right hand is all. And then go on. And again, the last measure, do the same way. I change the pedal on the last beat so I let the right hand gets a rest. And again, the second measure, the top of page 39, same thing. And then you don't pedal this measure. The second line is pedaled the same way we did before, and the last line is pedaled the same as we did before. It's no big deal on the pedal, I hope. So I like to play this really, really slowly, and if you want, you can play along with me to check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics. You can do all of that on your own, and we are going to go really slow. So since it's a 3/4 time, I'll give us 3 counts. And let's try this out. So the right hand is here, left hand's here. Foot's on the pedal. 1, ready, and go. And 1, and